Here we are. It's time. The greatest show, not actually the show which is called the greatest, but the greatest show that we have, Alphabetti Spaghetti. If you're new to the Eventing podcast, this is not what all the shows are like. Normally, Nicole is the host. It's very BBC. It's very well presented, edited. It flows very well. It has a plan. However, if you are tuning into Alphabetti Spaghetti, I get to present it. There is no plan. And if you're a new listener, this is probably not a good place to start. On the show tonight, I have the aforementioned normal presenter, a lady who hates when I'm in control, Nicole Brown. How are you?
I'm good. I don't hate it when you're in control. I embrace it. This is your show, Dee. Although it always makes me chuckle whenever you introduce Alphabetti, you get more Irish at the beginning. If that's possible.
If that's possible, yeah, that's fine, Nicole. You can do that, and I presume you're going to reference England beating Ireland yesterday. I'm going to say it first. Take the wind out of all your sails. Well done. Very pleased for you. Next up on the show, another proud Englishman. He comes from... I actually don't know where you're from, Spike. Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Lambourne, aren't I?
Oh, born and bred?
No. I was. No. Did you not listen to the pod?
I interviewed you.
Knowing you that you actually presented D.
Clearly not listening.
Where are you from?
I grew up in East Kent near Canterbury.
Yeah, but I mean it's so nondescript. How would you, if you said like, "Oh, I'm originally from Manchester" or "I'm originally from Newcastle"?
Nondescript. Has a cathedral.
He has totally
and everything.
Alienated everybody near Canterbury now.
Give over. Like,
England's the south.
So nondescript down there, Spike. So nondescript where you grew up.
Canterbury. How would you? Oh, and where are you from? East Kent. No way. No one would be expected to remember that. One lady who, in fairness, when we got her on the show initially, it was because she's one of the great brains and great writers of the sport. And slowly, through Alphabettis, she has descended into the madness of a regular on Alphabetti. I think this is the show you have ended up on more than any other, despite your incredible depth of knowledge. Catherine Austin, Alphabetti legend.
I love Alphabetti. It's easily my favourite show. It's really fun, and this is proper winging it tonight. So it'll be good.
It is indeed. The letter M is what we're dealing with tonight. If you haven't heard the show before, basically people put suggestions into the Flick group. That is a very nice, kind social media group. You can download the app on Flick and type in Eventing Podcast into the join code, and you'll find 500 odd people who are all very friendly to each other and obsess over eventing. Now, they always put in topics, and then sometimes there's some of them. Emily, I can't remember her surname. I'll check it in a minute, but Emily gets the game. She puts in the types of topics I like. There's still an awful lot of equestrian topics coming in there, which, as you know, if Nicole is presenting, she will deal with. If I am presenting, I usually ignore. And each week we deal with a different letter. And this week it's M. Yeah, this week it's M. So I am starting with, magpies. No one put this in. I just made this up myself. Magpies. Do you salute them? Do you believe in the luck thing associated with magpies? Do you do that little song thing that I've heard people doing? Or do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't salute them, but I always notice them. And if there's two, then if there's one, then I look desperately around for a second one.
Yeah.
And if there's only one, then I add it to the last only one that I saw.
Well, what is the song? Do you know the song, Spike?
Well, I know 1 for sorry, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy.
4 for a boy.
Yeah, that's as far as I can go.
And then it's 5 for a secret, never to be told.
No. 5 for silver.
Catherine knows. Catherine knows. No.
Yeah, I really do know, honestly. 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret, never to be told.
7 magpies is such an unlikely thing to happen anyway.
8 for a wish.
I do something really weird.
Oh, here you go. 8 for a wish, 9 for a secret, 9 for a kiss, 10 for a bird you must not miss.
9 for a kiss.
Yeah, 9. So you're going to have 9 magpies. 1 for sorry, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret, never to be told, 8 for a wish, 9 for a kiss, 10 for a bird you must not miss.
What do you mean, a bird you must not miss? What does that mean?
I guess a special bird. I don't know.
I do salute them when I see a single one, I have to say.
What does your salute What is your
Well, aren't you
salute
supposed
like?
to salute the magpie and say, "Hey, Mr. Magpie, have a good day," and and all that, and you don't want to tempt fate?
I do something.
What?
I do it because my mother did it, I guess, and I have to cross myself, say "God rest your honour," and spit. Although I don't actually do the
You
spitting bit.
spit?
Yeah, but I don't actually spit. But
I just salute them. I wouldn't go that far.
Wait a second.
it
This
takes ages,
is unreal. Spike, let's start with Spike.
So I salute a single magpie. Like that's like
Just for people that don't know what it is.
thing.
I mean, I don't know if this is a tradition in America. I don't even know if magpies are in America. But talk to me about what that. Tell someone who doesn't know what you're talking about what you mean when you say you salute this bird.
So if you're driving along and then you see the magpies on the side of the road, and if you see one on his own, because of it's one for sorrow, two for joy, is what I figured. This is based on just my own internal knowledge. I will salute single magpies, and I'm not particularly superstitious, but I think being a vet, you don't really want to tempt fate too much. You kind of want luck and fate and all that kind of stuff on your side a little bit. So I just have a little token salute for a magpie, and don't walk under ladders. And they're just you don't want any bad luck following you. So you just, go with it. Go with it. I'm not sort of have to put my socks on left first and then right before anything. All these very superstitious, particularly the eventers are quite superstitious with their lucky pants. I think that came up on the L one, didn't it? But yeah, no, don't tempt fate. You can't tempt fate. Bad stuff happens.
Well, yeah, it's irrelevant, really. Just train hard, work hard, good things happen, chance, variation. But Katrin takes it a step further and is spitting on magpies, are you?
I don't actually do the spitting bit. I'm a bit girly for that. I tend to just touch my finger with my tongue. I don't know why I do
has
it.
the world
my family
become?
does it, and it's just it's just worth not doing it because it's very easy to do, and as Spike so cleverly says, you don't want to tempt fate more than necessary.
I love this. I mean, it's fascinating what people carry on in their lives. So I'm glad we started with magpies. I presume you don't do any of that, do you, Nicole?
I would be the same. I don't tempt fate, but I'm not as superstitious as my husband, who is very into all of those things. And it's like you can't cut your nails on certain days of the week because it's
really
different. Yeah.
Sorry,
my God. Yes, you can't cut your nails on certain days of the week.
What days?
Oh God, you're allowed to cut them on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, I think.
Okay, I think we might have found something here. I think your lovely husband has come up with stuff that he just doesn't want to happen. So he says it's fate, or he says it's luck. He's just got this new rule of stuff that he just adds to each week.
I know. I actually think that it was his dad when he was growing up. His dad would probably not want to have cut his nails or something on a certain days. Who would say this? I don't know. It's very bizarre. And, there's little things like you can't do the washing on New Year's Day because you wash somebody out of the family. And little things like that. I mean, there's lots of little ones similar to magpies.
There's a lot of them in Ireland as well. You can't pay bills on Monday. It used to be a big one in all that.
Really?
You couldn't pay a bill on a Monday. That was just a
businessman that didn't want to pay a bill on a Monday, wasn't it?
All of these stuff probably have some origins.
Is that like Monday morning disease with horses when they tie up? They don't want to pay a bill on Monday.
I find
Sorry, Dee, that got a bit veterinary. You were going to ask. We might end up role playing if we're not careful here.
Oh yeah, we could do a bill paying episode.
Nah.
Okay. Well, I'm fascinated by those kind of.
What do you do, Dee?
I do very little. I don't believe in much of it. Sam's been a big inspiration in that.
Sam does not I remember once on a show, I said something and then said touch wood and tapped the desk, and Sam was like, no, don't, touching wood is not making any difference to the situation at all. Went later on, halfway through something about him, and you could hear him, and he, I'm sure, said, oh, just touch wood. And it had obviously rubbed off on him on the actual show because he got twitchy that we were talking about it.
No, he's a stats guy. He doesn't believe in luck.
He is. He's science driven. Yeah, no, I'm more on his side. I do very little of that kind of stuff now. I did used to not believe in the magpie thing, but it's funny how these things get ingrained into you. I do remember, if you see a single magpie, you're like, oh God almighty. You're there frantically looking around until you see a second one, and then you can continue with your day. I didn't do any of the spitting or anything like Katrin. That's one of the best revelations I've seen in a while. Now, the next M is in. This is an interesting one for this group. Margaritas. The question is, what drink would you be careful to avoid if you didn't want to get absolutely wrought off? Nicole, I'd say you'd be good at this.
To be honest, I'm a bit of a lightweight, so most things can, if I drink it in enough quantity, write me off very quickly. I would say that a Jaeger bomb makes me a better person on a night out. Like if you give me a Jaeger bomb, I am brilliant fun.
That's such a sad life moment. A Jaeger bomb makes me a better person.
I know, but I would be pretty good fun when I've had a drink. I think I'm good fun.
If we could all write our own reviews, Nicole.
I'm more fun when I'm anyway. I don't to be honest, I'm not good with vodka. So when people say that you can't smell or taste vodka, you absolutely categorically 100% can smell and taste vodka. I can smell it a mile off.
The good stuff. Stuff.
Yeah, anything.
It's all the nasty stuff you were drinking in your young farmer days, Nicole.
Well, I think the problem was I drank too much of the nasty stuff one night, and then it spoilt me for anything else. Like I can smell vodka a mile away. Honestly, can't. Makes me shudder.
The thing I can't drink anymore is white wine. I used to drink too much of it, and I just can't drink it anymore. It makes me feel sick, and I get a hangover almost as soon as I start drinking it.
Sam fainted at a wedding because he drank white wine. He claimed he's allergic to it, but actually genuinely fainted, had to get taken out of the wedding, and got sick on a kind of it was in the front of a lovely big country house. And Sparks,
was it his wedding?
No, he stayed up all night at his wedding, didn't he?
He was very sensible at his wedding, actually.
Yeah. No, he was fine really at his own one. But no, I think it's worse. At your own one you get you're allowed to take liberties. At someone else's one in a fancy country house, he was halfway down the alley with Sparks rubbing his little head. And this was early in the day. This is because he claimed he's allergic to whatever grapes are in white wine. Like champagne.
See, now you say that, I've just remembered I can't drink white port. I had a terrible
white port.
White port. What the hell is white port?
Oh, terrible wedding as an usher drinking white port with people.
I'm just currently googling what white port is.
Port is good. I'm a big fan of port. I must say,
not good. And the other stuff, I can't drink Sambuca anymore. It comes from back in the day.
Yeah.
It just doesn't mix with me.
Did you like Sambuca?
Yeah, I liked it a lot until I didn't like it a lot.
This is the problem with my accent. Did you light it?
Oh yeah.
We used to, when we were kids, we used to get a shot of Sambuca and put it into the big, like a tumbler.
Yeah.
And then light it up and then put your hand over it so that it would trap all the vapor in there and then suck all the vapor out real quick. And we used to all look at each other and be like, gets into your lungs quicker, get drunk.
This is my sensible head going back on. We by no means do we recommend that you do this, listeners. If you're thinking, I've got a pocket Sambuca in the cupboard, don't do it. It's not big. It's not clever. Don't do it.
It was good fun when you're a kid, but now, God
what do you
almighty.
think you can't drink, Dee? I mean, I remember a certain night that you drank some whiskey.
I didn't drink some whiskey. I drank a lot of whiskey. It's an infamous night. I think the podcast listeners are aware of the Blenheim 2016 party.
Yeah. Was it 2016 or 2017?
2017, was it?
2017, yeah.
Speaking of whiskey, it's quite funny here. Like we sit here on the doing our podcast and there's a little map of where we're based. And just like next to where Dee's based, it says the Jameson Distillery. Is that do you live next to whiskey?
His office is in the Guinness factory.
I'm in the Guinness factory, sure, every day.
That explains a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why that's why people come and visit us. It's you can do a tour of the Guinness factory, you see how it's all made, and then at the very top of it there's this thing called the Sky Bar, and it's a circular bar up really high, and you can see all of Dublin and drink Guinness. And they do little gimmicky things like you can take a selfie, and then by the time you get to the Sky Bar, there's a pint of Guinness waiting for you there with your face on the kind of ingrained in the white bit at the top of the Guinness. Bit gimmicky, but great for new clients. Everyone loves it.
Sounds like we need a new sponsor.
Oh yeah. God, sorry, no, my phone's gone off.
You did put on silent.
I know, sorry, yeah, Liverpool are playing tonight, so it's telling me not too long to kick off. So I'm going to have to rattle through these, as everybody knows. That's the important thing. I like to put in the odd equestrian one just because some people absolutely rage against me when I do entire non-equestrian shows. I was looking at some of the horse names that came up with and there is a incredible list of misters. There's actually quite a good list of masters as well, like your Master Crusoe. I think we might talk about Master Imp, who's in here as well. Jen Purcell put in Master Imp. I'll come back to him, but Mr. And I started by writing Mr. Bass against Mr. Chunky, and then I could kind of hear that collective groan of listeners who give out to me for only talking about Mr. Bass and Mr. Chunky. Then I remembered, we could talk about Mr. Medicott. Then I had Mr. Bass against Mr. Chunky against Mr. Medicott. And as I kind of went through the show plan, I saw Mr. Mullery, Mr. Cruise Control, Mr. Pig, Mr. Tequila Dancer, Mr. Pooh. Mr. Tequila Dancer stood out. Anyway, there's no shortage of them. Who wants to pick a horse of those to talk about? Mullery was a big favourite, lads, wasn't he?
I'll pick one.
Come on.
Can I pick Mr. Cruise Control?
Oh, yeah, do.
Because he's so lovely. And, okay, he obviously won the Moulin 5-star with Andrew Nicholson. And then he ended up taking a much, much younger rider, Thomas Hawke, round kind of star long, open intermediate, maybe even more than that. He might have actually done some advanced on him. And the old horse, who's a really big, I don't think they'll mind me saying, big old boat of a horse, looked so happy carting Thomas around, and they both had a lovely time. And it was a very cool way for a top horse to have a second career, really.
Yeah, he was loved, wasn't he, Mr. Cruise Control?
Yeah, I mean, he was sort of at the time when Andrew had a lot of high-profile top horses, i.e. Avebury and Nereo. So he possibly was a notch below those in people's sort of recognition, possibly, and probably in Andrew's stable. But he was a dude, and they were very fond of him. And he's a 5-star winner. I think he won Hartbury.
He did, and actually, he did take Thomas up to his first 3-star, 4-star short, as it is now. He did the Nations Cup at Houghton. I don't think he was on the Nations Cup team, but he did Houghton, went clear cross country. I mean, not a bad spin around your first 4-star, even if the time wasn't right to come home clear with 1 second over the time.
It's so nice, isn't it, when those great old horses have a sort of later career and they're pretty much in charge. You know, they're taking not a kid, but a young person around and having a lovely time.
Yeah.
Do you know who I used to feel sorry for in Andrew's stable? Calico Joe.
Do you know where he is now?
No.
He is now taking a boy who is probably 15 or 16, round sort of under 18 novices and that kind of thing, and having a lovely time. Not very far away from me. And he's cool, yeah.
Could we make that a challenge for pod listeners? Nicole, I'm just going to come up with a prize. It will be fully on you to get this sorted. Okay. Let's give something mental, like something really extravagant. Tickets to a 5-star. Don't know if we can fulfill that.
Hang on, what are they getting them to do first?
Okay, tickets to a 5-star. Probably tickets to a 5-star.
Hang on. Let's establish what are we getting them to do, and then we can determine the prize.
No, the prize comes first. Probably tickets to a 5-star or something else equally good and extravagant. If you can be the next person or the first person to post a picture with some kind of time proof that you didn't just take it yesterday. So we need like you and a newspaper and a horse of Calico Joe going around an event.
Okay.
I hope Emma Rugman's listening with her steps on.
Okay, that's a good prize. That's sorted. And if you're wondering how to claim that prize, Nicole at equiratings.com.
Calico Joe was really... It's a quote that Andrew said a couple of times, but I think it originated with Calico Joe at Burley, who was not the most, conspicuously talented horse, a little thoroughbred. And Andrew just said, we go into the start box and he gives me his heart and his mind and his body, and off we go.
I'm up for it. Spike's raging on the WhatsApp group here. He just called me an idiot.
I tell you what, let's just establish what this is. So, because I'm really quite confused. So basically, somebody has to get a picture with Calico Joe, or let's say with Calico Joe or Mr. Cruise Control, because we've just talked about him as well.
Right.
Whoever gets that picture in
Dee,
first.
how are you going to know? You're just going to get a grey head and a newspaper. I mean, like...
I wouldn't have a clue.
I want proof that it's today, like a hostage situation.
No, you need proof it's the horse.
Proof of life. I want proof of life.
Okay, yeah, I'm overruling this.
Words fail me.
It's a challenge, Spike. It's a good, fun challenge. It would be easy to do a more obvious challenge, but actually find Calico Joe, and that's the hashtag, find Calico Joe.
Find Calico Joe.
All right. Only the hardcore who actually listen to this nonsense podcast will know what the challenge is. So if you're listening, if you're an Alpha fan and you can hashtag find Calico Joe, I will ensure that you get an unreal prize from Nicole. Okay.
No, I'm getting dragged into this.
You are so dragged in.
Hey, it sounded like you're the prize.
It's just like Nicole is not responsible for this. This is Derm's prize.
Yeah, no, I'll sort it.
You'd have wanted Necker Ratings hat or some Red Mill stash, or something coming up very exciting.
We give that stuff away. No, we give that stuff
it.
away all the time. My show, my prize.
Because it's grand. In 8 more minutes, he's going to disappear and watch the football, and then three of us can have a sensible conversation about things.
Right,
what do you want to have a sensible conversation about? What would you like to talk about?
Let's move on.
I thought Master Imp was a good conversation.
All right,
let's
talk about Master Imp. Let's talk about Master Imp, the horse that never evented.
Does that mean he can't be an event stallion? Sarah, some amazing horses. Amazing horses. They were super talented, always a little bit quirky.
Yeah.
You never... There's probably plenty of listeners out there that will prove me wrong, but mares by Master Imp were always almost too quirky, almost too tricky. But they often used to be good dams of then subsequent offspring. But they're amazing horses by him. High Kingdom.
Yeah.
High Kingdom's full brother Mandiba. They were two superb horses, proper event horses in the proper sense of the word. Like, because Master Imp was a full thoroughbred for people that don't know, 100% thoroughbred, and therefore crossing with some of the more traditional Irish horses meant that you then got a bit more bone and they had a bit more substance about them, and then you got some amazing event horses through the 2000s. So yeah, absolute star of a star. And the only thing we have to say is that if we're going to do Master Imp with M, we'll have to do Puissance with P. Otherwise, Sam will have a baby or something.
Yeah, we'll get Sam on for that full show. In my opinion, Spike, and I don't know if you would agree with me, but I certainly felt that Master Imp drew two different types. I mean, the upstanding Master Rose is typical of a stock from more traditional mares.
I know what you're reading on the internet.
Literally reading out an article by someone else.
I would suggest that the broodmares produced the likes, of Master Crusoe and High Kingdom, but he definitely drew different stocks, Spike.
I just think in the modern eventing world where we always talk about how much blood, like when I go and vet horses for pro riders, they always, how much blood is it? How much blood is it? You see all the adverts out there and the riders want at least 50% blood and all want their thoroughbred in it. But, Master Imp is a full thoroughbred through the last 15 years of eventing, if not more, has been doing that for years. And yeah, he was quirky, but he sired some superb event horses, and we're now thinking outside the box and trying to find these German horses that are full thoroughbred and things like that. But I mean, Libby Aesthetic Sam was by Stan the Man, who was an Irish full thoroughbred stallion. So there's some pretty strong Irish breeding lines there for these full thoroughbreds. You don't have to get the fancy European horses to get those.
Breeder.
Do you have a point? Do you have an opinion on that?
Oh, I completely agree. I mean,
good.
if you want real blood, come to Ireland. Never mind all your fancy German horses. There's everything here that you need. Although you want to hurry up, because I'm also aware, Spike, that the O'Neills shunned some modern innovations like frozen semen, so natural covering only. And for that reason, Spike, in my opinion, just off the top of my head, his influence will not be as long-lasting as some of the more famous European sires.
It's a very good point.
And now you know.
Yeah.
You know. So that's just off the top of my head. That's my opinion anyway. Disagree if you want.
I have no words.
Next up, military. This comes in from Jody, friend of the pod. A general question on uniforms, and do they make people hotter?
Okay, we need to talk about this from both the male and female perspective. So men in uniform, Catherine, you and I can take that one. I would say there is a certain attraction to a man in uniform.
Does it depend
look
on
very
the
smart.
Yeah, not massively. It's never really done it for me. I don't really, not the whole army thing. No.
What about a particular
Andreas
inspector?
Ostol is an obvious exception, but
Oh, okay. So we have exceptions. Spike, D, what about ladies in uniform?
Victoria?
It's traditionally the Italian riders who would wear uniform a lot, or the French riders. I remember Giovanni Galotti winning Best Dressed at badminton 2 years ago, and he was like, "I'm just wearing my uniform."
Yeah, I know.
I haven't done anything fancy. I'm just wearing my uniform.
I think Alice Fox-Pitt was on the judging panel on that occasion.
I mean, the Italians are just a hot race anyway. And
I think it makes them look super smart. Male and female, they just look smart, don't they?
yeah.
Like the boots are going to be really
Dickie
shiny.
Waygood was the last British rider to compete at the top level in uniform.
If we could pick any rider that competes now and put them in uniform, who do you think it would suit? I'm gonna say that I could see Harry Mead competing in uniform.
Yeah, clearly Guards officer, etc., etc. Yeah,
like it would absolutely happen.
see Tom McEwen in uniform.
Tom in his little chimney sweep outfit.
Yeah, Tom
have his little black jacket on.
And his little baker boy cap.
Can you imagine Oliver in uniform? No, not really.
No, God almighty, lads. We could be in trouble here if we don't move on.
Yeah, moving on.
It's your show. Deal with
Spike
it.
hates these shows, doesn't he? Like, he's so
I love
uncomfortable with it all. Well, I've got one for you, Spike, if you want to be a little
go
bit
for it.
more. This is kind of more serious. Katrin asked this, not our Katrin, another Katrin. She said, music. Does it have a role to play in eventing dressage at all?
In a sense of whether, the actual dressage to music in the same sense as the pure dressage riders. We've played it, haven't we? We did the Express Eventing, did a little bit of it, that they did dressage to music. And
ERM.
Takes a lot of work. Well, they don't do dressage to music in ERM. You get to choose your music that plays whilst you do your dressage.
Yeah, Chris Burton does dressage to music in ERM.
Oh,
he has
do
a floor
enlighten
plan.
me.
Yeah,
Oh,
he has
does
a floor plan. Yeah, a specific floor plan that is music that is, put together for the test.
But the work that goes into the floor plans for the dressage to music and the pure dressage is, there's like people employed out there to put those things together. So there's a lot of time and effort that goes into it. Yeah, I could see us having a go at it, can we? We've dabbled at it.
Sure, we can barely do dressage not to music.
It's funnier when the music, it's sort of, if you go to European events or events somewhere that aren't Britain and Ireland and they play really random music. I remember the music at the London Olympics, for some reason, was unintentionally hilarious. I'm trying to think of examples, but riders on, coming in to do serious grown-up tests, and there'd be some extraordinary
Bengal
song
boys in the background or something.
Yeah, and you'd be like,
I think it's quite. I think if there's anything you can do that helps entertain and helps bring enjoyment and fun, yes, you can have really, really serious tests, and yes, it's a serious environment. But I just think it's fun. I enjoy listening to the music.
Yeah, I'd love it if we did do it properly. I mean, Charlotte Desjardins and Vallegro, like the highest level of the sport, but their test at the London Olympics to win gold to music was just ridiculous.
Amazing.
Time.
Yeah.
Even for me, as a sports fan, outside of, caring about any equestrian sport in particular or caring about Britain winning, it was one of those goosebump moments, the Vallegro test, and the music behind it was unreal moment.
Hey, D, if the Irish music's the same music that was at your wedding, then you do well to do dressage to that.
That's our perfect choppy.
You need a little choppy Connemara pony trotting down the centre line.
No, that was very special. Okay, then. Oh, God, we have a big one coming up. Zara H. said, mental health. And then in brackets, is this too heavy for Alphabetti spaghetti? Nothing is too heavy for Alphabetti spaghetti. You have to mind it. Who wants to take this? Mental health. We've been having kind of various tangential conversations on mental health. We've talked about social media. I think we will be talking about mental health more and more over the coming years as actually we become I'd say more accepting of the fact that mental health is equally important as physical health. And I mean, certainly Ireland, I would say, when we see kind of American TV shows referencing talking to their therapists, I don't think we're there yet. I don't know if same in the UK. In Ireland, I don't think we're there in terms of the same level of openness, in that it's just like going to the gym. But I think we're making great strides in that direction. I think there's a very good movement towards recognition of not just kind of digging yourself out of, a down period, but actually maintaining good periods by looking after your mental health. Maintenance, I suppose, rather than fixing yourself. I think we're getting closer to that type of view of mental health. I don't know if that's the same in England.
I think that some top British riders have played quite an important part in that becoming very acceptable. I mean, Pippa Funnell has talked for a long time now about her use of sports psychology, and that brought it, made it more acceptable, perhaps, among younger British riders to talk and to realise that they could need help, and that was okay, and to take help. And now I'd say that sports psychology is a very accepted part of anyone's training program, wouldn't you?
Oh, I would, yeah. But I think sports psychology is great for people in the high performance programs, because actually mainly what you're doing is talking through different issues that you're experiencing, and you have the medium of sport to allow you to be able to talk to a sports psychologist. I think it's harder if you're operating at an amateur level, or if, like you're in my case, you're not necessarily training for high performance sport. And I think mental health is equally applicable to everybody. I think it's brilliant for high performance athletes that actually, through the medium of sport, sports psychology is just such a critical part of any program or any, I suppose, marginal gain that's available to you.
Down. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's something that's applicable outside of sport. And in that sense, I think we're becoming, certainly I can see it now in my friend group. If we're out for pints, I think when we were younger, and certainly I would say like my dad's generation, I don't think it would have been a normal thing. But now, like, if we're out for pints with the lads, nobody would bat an eyelid if you were like, oh, well, my therapist said this, or, God, I'm having a really bad time and actually I'm going to see someone. It's all totally normal in our friend group at the moment. And I would imagine then that's reflective of a lot of people, which I think is brilliant. I think it's a critical part of it.
Yeah, D, it's not completely reflective enough, though.
No, not yet.
I would have a couple of points on this. I mean, I from my side of and what I do in my day job, I see most every gamut of human emotion, with good days and bad days, and good news and bad news, and those sort of things. And outside of that sort of professional athlete world that we were sort of touching on there, and horses can teach you resilience because you get through some tough times, but they can also be what people might use as a crutch to think that they're kind of coping, and that can be tough. And so I think there still needs to be more talked about it and more said about it. And then again, on an even more personal level, I mean, veterinary is tough, and it's tough. And we know in the industry that I work in, it's a big talking point, and that's been through university and now out in the real world with equine vets and vets in general. There's some scary stats out there, and and being around those emotions and having to be full of empathy and emotion and care is tough to be around all the time. So I could probably talk all evening about various things, but it's there's more that can be done, and more to be brought into the forefront of conversations.
Can I suggest, because we kind of touched upon it in the social media podcast that we did, that actually talking about it and making it more acceptable to talk about and more aware, just raising awareness and making it okay to talk about things when they're not perfect and that sort of thing. Can I suggest that actually we do a dedicated show, if there is interest from the listeners, that we do a dedicated show on mental health in eventing, and we talk to Spike, we talk to different people, and we actually give it the time it deserves to delve into it a little bit deeper and raise awareness and actually talk about it, because it's one of those things that actually it is becoming more talked about, and psychology is talked about, and people have come out and spoken that they've openly struggled. But actually, we need to talk about it, and that it's okay to talk about it. So I'm going to propose that we're going to do a special show on it.
Oh,
Great idea.
Yeah,
You
I'm
should do
up for
that.
that.
Yeah.
I'm up for that. All right. Well, we talked about it on Alphabetti. That's the starting point.
It started here. The idea is born, and we will make it happen at some point.
We'll do it properly. Yeah. We'll do it properly. Yeah. Okay. Schedule it, Knickers.
It's on the radar, listeners. We will have it coming for you.
Friend of the show, Emily B. I'm pretty sure her husband is the one who does the questions, or her fella. I don't know if they're married. I don't know her. But Emily B. always asks a good question, and she said, Monopoly is the best board game, ? What do we think?
Not if you play it with my husband, it isn't.
Competitive?
Oh my God, he takes Monopoly. I'm very competitive, and he's not that competitive. But there's something about Monopoly that literally turns him into a complete machine. You might say, oh, let's go to bed and we'll finish this in the morning. And nope, we're not going to bed. We're finishing it now. Like nobody in our family will play Monopoly with him that much anymore because he just has to win. He's brutal. He's very good at it. Wild. Yeah, no, I do like it, just not playing with him.
I like it as well, but I actually don't have people in my family or friend group who want to commit to it, if you know what I mean. We're not from a board game house, which I find a pity. I always try to introduce it on things like Christmas night. I'm always trying to be like, oh, this year I bought, God, what did I buy? It's called the board game or the quiz game for adults. It's kind of funny.
You're talking about Cards Against Humanity, which is the best game of all time.
That's the one, Spike.
But I didn't know whether that counted as a board game.
I think that's just.
Well, I tried to bring it to my family. My ma loved it. Like, my ma's pretty.
That is high risk playing Cards Against Humanity with your parents.
She loves it. My dad was
wouldn't do that.
shocked. My dad was shocked. Like, my mother was putting down filthy cards, and my dad was just sitting there being like
horrified.
Horrified. I wish we were more of a board game house or board game, even in my new house now with Denise. I wish we were more board game players, but no takers, unfortunately. I would say Monopoly is my favourite.
Next time you come to stay, D, you and Oliver can play Monopoly and go for it.
Catherine Austin, you a board game player?
Not massively, but if I'm going to, I prefer trivial pursuits. Monopoly just ends in everyone crying and just, in my family anyway, because we're really competitive and someone's got to lose and that doesn't go well. And I also don't really have the concentration span, if I'm honest.
That's an issue for us all these days. Monopoly is a commitment. Did anybody have any good games that they used to play growing up?
Yeah,
like
Mousetrap is
Operation.
amazing.
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap.
Racing Demon, best card game ever.
Racing
That's not
Demon.
a board game again. Like, that's a great game.
No, but
Racing
it's
Demon.
games.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what about games that are on a board, even if they're not like board games? Do you know, I'm thinking Buckaroo. Anybody play Buckaroo?
Buckaroo.
No?
What about Hungry Hippos?
Hungry Hippos, I vaguely remember, yeah. They were, I remember them a bit. Operation I was a big fan of Operation. No, you were all just sitting at home playing Pippa Funnels games.
Basically,
Reading a book.
Yeah.
I was watching If Wishes Were Horses and,
What were you playing with, Spike?
Spills and Spills DVD.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, what were you playing?
Not like that. Jesus, lad. I mean, as a kid. Nicole, we'll never get anyone on the show again if you keep turning it into rudeness.
I do remember Operation D. I know where you're coming from with that. That was a good game as well.
Okay, so we have to move on now quickly because of Nicole Brown. Sorry about that, Spike. That wasn't the intended. Nadine Haley Brown. I like that her name is always her full name, all in one. Milk chocolate is inferior to dark chocolate.
No,
Haley, wash your mouth out with soap and water.
No, her name is Nadine Haley Brown.
Oh, sorry, Nadine Haley Brown. Nadine Haley Brown, wash your mouth out with soap and water. Milk chocolate is by far superior to dark chocolate.
Okay, what's the best milk chocolate brand then?
Cadbury's or Lindt. Big fan of Cadbury's and Lindt.
I quite like Milka.
Yes, Catherine, you're just on it, aren't you? Milka is a good call.
Milka's for holidays. Milk is for on your way
Milk
home.
is for
through
when
the
you're
airport.
in like, yeah,
Exactly.
funny
It's the best
airport.
thing
And
about
you need something.
exactly. You know, or Toblerone in an airport. That's great.
Yeah, Toblerone is good. Sam has to bring a Toblerone home to Sparks everywhere he travels. Even if it's like London for the afternoon, she has to get a Toblerone.
Gets a
That's good.
Toblerone.
But interestingly, there's an offer on in Toblerones in Dublin Airport. So he bought around 20 of them once and then just
keeps them
put them in a bag in his room and just goes home, takes one out every time he's been on a trip, brings it down to her. Oh, here you go, love.
Oh, your
Did you not
Toblerone.
notice the massive bag of Toblerones in their room?
No, they live in a mansion. I would agree with you, Nadine Haley Brown. Actually, I know the girls are disagreeing. I would be big dark chocolate fan, but I like the Lindt range where you get like sea salt and orange twist and hazelnut and all that kind of stuff. I like dark
Too
chocolate.
sophisticated for me.
Yeah, it's better for you.
Favorite chocolate? You can have one piece of chocolate. Favorite chocolate? What would it be? Go.
Whisper.
Catherine?
Ooh, Toblerone, actually.
Good
Right?
shout.
I'll have a Ferrero Rocher.
Oh,
Where are you from? I'm from East Kent, Canterbury.
Canterbury.
Yeah, with your white gloves, butler bringing it out to you. Ferrero Rocher.
It's got to be in a pyramid.
What about you, Knickers?
I like a Lindt chocolate ball.
Sounds like a cheapo version of a Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah, I know. It's lovely Lindt chocolate ball. But any chocolate really, apart from dark for me. It's like the only kind of chocolate I don't like. Okay. Anyway.
Split opinions there. Okay, last question of the evening. Thank you for your time now, folks. This is a big one. Magic. M is for magic. What one eventing moment would you change in the last 5 years? I'll set the rule again. Moment. We've had shows. We've actually had an entire greatest show where people struggled with the concept of moment. I think that was you, Spike. So what we're looking for here is a single moment that you would change.
I've got one.
Go on.
Rio 2016, when William Fox-Pitt comes down that little mound to the skinny brush at the bottom and just canters straight past it.
Oh, British hearts were breaking.
Oh, weren't they
Change
just?
the face of nations. Yeah.
I mean, it could have been Olympic gold, and it was just everything that he'd come back from and everything that had got him to that point, and you just so wanted it to happen.
What a story it would have been.
Oh, it'd have been amazing.
What a story it would have been.
So yeah, that's my bit.
That's a good one. That's a big moment. So magically you've changed that. How would he have show jumped?
He show jumped clear, didn't he?
Well, in the next version of reality, yeah, you're confident it was a gold medal on the line in that moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, big one. That. Catherine Austin, have you got one?
Well, it sounds as though I've talked about Andrew Nicholson for the whole of this podcast, which is slightly embarrassing.
Podcast,
but how?
Imagine him in uniform.
Well, I'll leave that one with you.
Playing Hungry Hippos.
Okay, be grown up. How about the moment at which a decision was taken by Andrew, by other people, at which he wasn't going to ride for the New Zealand team anymore? So we could have a Tokyo at which, the New Zealand team, would be, it's strong already, but would be even stronger.
God, could you imagine? It would be Tim Janelle and Andrew Nicholson, likely.
Maybe not. You never know. There's still some big,
but it would be a hell of a show. I mean, we talked about As Is, his young horse.
Certainly, it would be cool to have Andrew riding on team still, wouldn't it?
It's a big thing. It's a big thing that we lost out because don't forget we don't have Toddy now. So it was I know, not dead, just in another sport. But what we would have had would have been. I mean, we lost out on a period there. 4 years? So maybe 2 championships where you would have had Mark and Andrew and other top riders alongside them. It's a big loss. You're right. It's a big moment. It's a moment that all breaks down. Spike the bet. Have you got a moment for us? Magically to be changed?
Yeah, it's tricky. I can't think of one in particular. I don't really do shoulda, woulda, coulda. I might have to pass on this one.
I'll go. You don't pass. You can't pass.
Okay. I'll think more. You go, D. Go on.
Think of some example. I was thinking about this and I was thinking my ones are so obvious because I talk about them all the time, which is Ingrid's pole to be world champion. That was That was a bad one. I would like magically to keep that poll up. Leonidas's round. I mean, I talk about them all the time. Everyone gives out, but Leonidas's round at Rio that I would change if I could magically that one moment.
It's more than a moment, though, isn't it, D?
Oh, yeah. Pete and Di listen to this podcast, and they do not like when we go on about this. So yeah, okay, I'll take that. Anyway, I can't mention those. Maybe, okay, you know what? I'll go for a moment. For me, that I would change Burra Pennies before the World Games when she's warming up.
Good one.
And doesn't go in, because you know what it takes to get to a World Games. Your whole team are there, your whole family are there, you've trained for it, you've got to the championship, you're warming up outside, something happens and you don't go in. I'll change that one. That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, pretty brutal.
Yeah, I think I could probably give you a long list of ones that have broken my heart of those little moments in the last 5 years, but I really couldn't. I don't think I could really go into them. But there's a few in there that have broken my heart. Those moments. I remember having one.
You can change one.
Yeah, but I probably couldn't give you the details, in fairness, in this sort of environment. But I do remember one at Buccolo one year where from the elation of seeing a horse complete to within seconds realising that there was an injury was probably one that I would change, because that was I knew what we'd gone through to get the horse there, and it had come back from a problem as well. And yeah, sadly, it was a career-ending injury, but luckily it was a mare, so she's going to be away having babies. But yeah, that would be one that really sticks in mind.
Oh, well, that's a happy note to end the podcast on. It's just another episode of Alphabetti Spaghetti.
We could. It doesn't have to end on such a negative note, does
What
it?
a way to finish, Dee. What a way to finish. We should have finished with the chocolate.
Should have finished with the chocolate, Nicole.
I mean,
this is how we're finishing. This is real life. It's not all fun and games, is it?
Not all. No, you've got to be real about the situation, listeners. You've got to be real. And sometimes this is how it finishes.
Even
what
if we
a
just
pleasure it
started
has
with
been.
like, we could have moved towards Catherine. That would have been a better way.
Being a vet's not all about Ferrero Rocher in podcasts. There's
it sure is not. It sure is not. And that's probably the main takeaway from tonight. That's probably the main. That's something we've all learned this evening. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, very soon to be back in control. Nicole Brown. We got any episodes coming up, Nicole, that you want to tell people about?
Oh, we have got so many plans in the pipeline, listeners. Literally a couple we can't talk about yet. By the time this show comes out, there will be a very exciting launch. And and we have got something very special coming for you for International Women's Day as well. We are planning a proper little mini series around International Women's Day. So talking to some really successful, influential women in eventing. We've got loads of people lined up. Really looking forward to that one. Some of the big preview shows start soon as well. So Barocca is going to be really interesting next week. The 4-star long, which will have some Olympic qualifying tickets, combinations going to get their qualifying ticket for the Olympics. First big opportunity of 2020 as well. So tons coming up, absolutely loads. I mean, I did the March schedule at the weekend and I had so many episodes, I didn't know where to put them all. So yeah, tons of good stuff.
That's great. This will be our last Alphabetti for a while, will it?
For a little while, yeah.
But
it's okay.
Done a good job.
Letter N will be next. So if you're on the Flick group, then go and put your suggestions in for letter N for as soon as we can record it. And if you aren't on the Flick group, then what are you doing? Get yourself on there. Search Flick Chat in your app store and search Eventing Podcast in the groups and join it, because it's a lovely place to be.
And that's the end of the show. Well done, everybody.
Thanks, team.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Are you going to do any kind of little wrap up, Dee?
No, not on my shows. My shows just end like that.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Bye.